Cool. All right, so it should be loading. All right, fantastic. There we go. Cool. So what's happening, everybody? What's going on? Super excited to be here. With Carla, we were joking about being back again, because I was actually at some point doing this for Dan's amazing community. I think we did this like every week or every couple weeks, and we used to do a Facebook call and whatnot. And it's super excited to be back. Now we're good friends with Dan, and we were talking about, he's always thinking about you guys. He's always thinking about how we can add more value to this community. And that's basically his obsession, right? Like right now he's like full on, okay, how can I make this a no-brainer of a community, so that people can come here and can change their businesses around, their lives around. And I'm speaking of this because I've known Dan for several years now, like 6-7 years now. And he's always had this desire of putting out like the highest degree of quality content and quality teachings and everything that he can. And everything is tested, it's battle tested. So anyway, super excited to be here, super excited to be of service to this community. I know that we have a lot of people, so I'm just gonna do this like mercifully short introduction. Okay, I don't wanna drag this along too much. I'm definitely here to answer all of your Facebook ads questions. We're also going to be talking about what's working right now. And yeah, so this is me. I'm Hernan Vasquez. I'm originally from South America, from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I spend half of my time in Buenos Aires and half of my time in South Florida, actually. And yeah, throughout my career, I work with Dan Henry. I work initially. We started working with him when he launched 30-day agency, and then we did it again with sold out courses and whatnot. So this was a while ago, but yeah, we met through a friend, and I was blessed to work with him. I also work with Frank Kern. Many of you guys know Frank Kern. I was Frank Kern's CMO and main advertising guy for 3.5 years. I started working with him as a media buyer, and then I went ahead and became his main ad guy and his main marketing guy. And I was also doing these calls every Friday for his network. The network, that was the name of his community. So many of you, I see many familiar faces from that time. So I used to do Facebook Fridays for him, and I did it like for 3.5 years. And then I went to work with Grant Cardone. I was Grant Cardone marketing director. And through my time working with Grant Cardone for a year and a half, I went ahead and run this amount of marketing for one of his companies. And then I was also in charge of training, going out there, recruiting, finding, training a lot of media buyers. And collectively, we were spending around $10 million a month, and I was responsible for every penny. So I had to make sure that the team was delivering. So I had to develop a lot of training for media buyers, a lot of teachings and whatnot to make sure that we were delivering the services. And then I also ran a lot of marketing for that business that we were building as well. And then I was always kind of the guy behind the guy, right? I advised Dean Graciosi's marketing team with Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson's launch of Mastermind.com. We worked with Agora Publishing. I was marketing director for Jeff Lerner as well. Jeff Lerner is the owner of Antra Institute. And with Jeff, we went from around $30,000 a month in advertising spend to $1.5 million a month in profitable ad spend in around 6 months. That was during the pandemic. That was huge. Then I went to work, with Patrick Bet-David. We worked with Steve Kotler, with Lionel Messi. I don't know if there's any soccer fans here, but I'm from Argentina, so you could say that I'm a soccer fan. So we work with him, and we work with many others. And over the past, I would say, over the past 6 years, I managed, and I was directly involved in spending over $60 million, close to $70 million in paid direct response advertising on social media. Most of that, I would say probably 70% of that spend has gone to Meta, to Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot. And we have over $200 million in attributed results for our campaigns. And again, I built digital marketing agencies. I train digital marketing teams. I still do. I own my digital marketing agency, Scale Driven. And at Scale Driven, we focus on high ticket coaches, consultants, people that sell information. We help them scale their ads. So that's me in a nutshell. So super excited to share everything that I learned, everything that we're doing right now, for you today. And also like answer any questions that you might have. That's one of my missions here, is to answer any questions that you might have here on today's call, and we're going to be doing this pretty frequently. So I think that once a month we're going to be doing this, but I'm also going to be jumping in the community as well. So if you ever have any questions about Facebook ads, you can tag me inside the community if you're launching Facebook ads and whatnot. Now, before I dive into that, I would like to know here in the chat who is actively running ads for their business. I would like to know who is actively running ads for their business. Hey, Jamie, how's it going, man? So I would like to know, just put a 1, or just put a yes, or just put a me on the chat box here. Okay, nice. Okay, wow, a lot of you guys are actually running ads. Okay, cool. Nice. All right, yeah, this is cool. So a lot of people. Okay, that's perfect. So who here is completely brand new to Facebook ads? They never run an ad. They've never like launched a single ad, and you're basically starting from scratch. Just put a me, just put a 1 in the chat box. I want to know who's like completely new and you never running ads. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. All right, fantastic. Okay, so we have a decent amount of people running ads. We have a decent amount of people running, and this amount of people that are new to Facebook ads. Okay, cool. Now, who in here? Okay, ran them 5 years ago. Okay, yeah, Angela, things have changed a lot over the past 5 years. Okay, who in here is running ads or is selling information like courses, programs, yeah, like books, like who is selling information? Okay, because depending on what you're selling is the type of campaign that you're going to be running on Facebook ads. Okay, perfect. Okay, what's up, Eric? All right, cool. Courses. Okay, we have a bunch of people selling courses. Okay, who in here is selling high ticket coaching? Who in here is selling high ticket coaching? You know, you're trying to generate a lead, or you're trying to generate a sale to sell on the phone. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Okay, with agency, high ticket consulting. Okay, I'm selling courses and digital products. Okay, yes. So I would say high ticket, Ali, to answer your question, high ticket for me is anything over $3,000. Or let's say everything over $2,500. Okay, in my experience, anything under $2,500, you can potentially sell it from either a challenge or a webinar. It doesn't necessarily require to jump on the phone with somebody. That has been my experience. Okay, cool. So we have a nice mix of people. Some people are running ads. Some people have never, run ads, and they definitely want to learn. Okay, that's amazing. We have some people selling courses. We have some people selling digital products. Anyone here selling like local stuff, like brick and mortar businesses, like lead generation and whatnot? Okay, we have a couple. All right, okay, cool. Anyone selling software like SaaS? Because again, depending on what you're selling is the type of campaign that you're gonna run. Okay, no, nobody doing SaaS. Okay, cool. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. We're gonna do a little bit of rapid fire here, teaching, if you would, and I'm gonna share with you some of the campaigns that we run for some of our clients, because most of you said that you are selling either info or you're selling coaching. Okay, and I'm going to share with you the way that we like to run info and the way we like to run coaching. Okay. And the reason why I'm going to tell you, oh yeah, something that I forgot. Is anyone selling physical products like e-com? SaaS, local businesses? Okay, SaaS. Okay, cool. All right. Anyone selling e-com? E-com, like anyone selling e-commerce products? Okay, yes, e-com, yes, fitness attire. Okay, cool. Okay, we have a little bit of everything. All right, cool. So let me share with you some of the campaigns that we like to run. Okay. And again, for anyone that's listening to this right now, and if you're running ads right now, and if you have any questions about running ads, put them in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen. Okay. Because I really want to make sure that we use most of this call to answer your questions. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to kind of go through and gloss over the type of campaigns that we run for these type of businesses, okay, for different businesses and whatnot. So Yeah, for sure. So put your answers in the chat, but put your questions in the Q&A. Okay, so if you have a Q&A, if you have a question, put them in the Q&A. Okay, so for chatting, every time I ask a question, just put them on the chat. If you have a question, just put them in the Q&A. All right, cool. So let me share my screen real quick, and we're gonna dive right into this. So I love this app that it's gonna share right now. It's called Lucidchart. I don't know if you guys use it. I use it all the time. So the goal of advertising, the goal of Facebook ads, okay, and you're going to know this if you've been running Facebook ads for a while. The goal of Facebook ads, it's always to turn a profit, okay? That's the way I like to see things. That's the way I like to run ads. That's the way we do it at my agency. The way to run ads is to always try and turn a profit. Now, does that mean that you're always going to turn a profit on your ads? No. Does that mean that we use some other campaign objectives? We're going to be talking about campaign objectives a lot. Does that mean that we use some other campaign objectives? Yes, we do. But the main point of a campaign when you running ads is to turn a profit. Now, that means that as you launch a campaign, okay, and I think that this topic is really relevant because as you launch a campaign, there's going to be three stages of running an advertising campaign on Facebook. And each stage, and this applies no matter what you're selling, okay? If you sell info, if you sell coaching, if you sell SaaS, if you sell local business, it doesn't matter, okay? If you follow these three stages of running ads, then you will know exactly what to do at each stage of the campaign, okay? So stage one, this is called stage one. This is when we are just starting out. And starting out in my lingo, right? I'd like to define terms so that we're all on the same page. Starting out means that you don't have any pixel data, that you haven't run ads before, okay? So you're starting from scratch, potentially with a new offer, potentially with a new funnel, which is going to be the case for many of you, okay? So this is stage one. Now on stage one, there's some things that you need to have in mind in order for you to collect data. Now, again, on stage one, we don't necessarily want to, we might turn a profit, we might make money with our ads on stage one, but generally speaking, we don't. Because on stage one, your goal should be to focus and to find out what works. And when I say what works, I mean basically two things. What targeting works, okay? What type of targeting, like who are you going to show your ads to? What targeting works? And that's number one. That's the first thing that you're trying to find out. And the second thing that you're trying to find out is what creatives. When I talk about creatives, I talk about video ads, image ads, the combination of copy and images and whatnot. Okay, so that's a creative for me. So the first thing that you need to do is basically figure out who is your ideal audience, right? Even if you have it in your head, you need to work kind of with Facebook interest targeting, right? If you know who your ideal audience is, you need to search for those people into the Facebook ads platform to see if you have interest or targeting that can go hand in hand with that ideal audience, right? So that's your ideal audience. But then again, Facebook gives you a lot of options when it comes to targeting, like infinite amounts of options, right? When it comes to targeting. So what you want to do is you want to start understanding who is going to reply or respond to your ads. And respond to your ads basically means that they're going to click on the ad and they're going to do the thing that you want them to do on your landing page. Okay, so this is stage one. So in stage one, what we're doing is, again, figuring out the targeting, okay? Figuring out the targeting and figuring out the creatives, okay? Now, Dan has given you the social ads planner. Okay, the social ads planner, it's a really cool tool that allows you to start understanding this part right here, this creative part, okay? Which creatives are good and which creatives are bad, okay? So stage one, again, it's all about testing. The way I like to launch, when I start from scratch, the way I like to launch a campaign is we're going to be running conversion ads, okay? Let's say that you want to send traffic to a landing page to get a lead, or a landing page to get an opt-in, or a landing page to get a buyer. Those are all conversions. For e-com people, it's going to be send traffic to your e-com store to get buyers. Those are all conversions. Again, we're going to focus on conversions, either sales or leads, okay? At least for this training right here. So we're gonna launch a conversion campaign with the targeting, generally speaking, and this depends on your budget. I like to launch anywhere between 10 to 30 ad sets, okay? And I can make a walkthrough, I can record a walkthrough, you know, showing you an entire, we actually have a bunch of material that I need to send to Dan's team. I need to send to Carla that we're going to be uploading. So all of these campaign startup or campaign launch methodology is going to be in the classroom pretty shortly. I would say by the end of this week or next week. So I need to compile that and send that to the team. But just as a quick overview, I like to start with anywhere between 10 to 30 ad sets. The reason why I say it depends on your budget is because if you launch 10 ad sets at, let's say, $5 a day each, that's $50 a day that you have to spend, right, to collect data. Now, if you launch 30 ad sets at $5 a day, that's going to be $150 a day for you to spend, okay? So that triples your budget. So launch this at the budget that you can afford. And as a general rule of thumb, when it comes to advertising, I would very much rather you advertise for a long time than burned out and never advertise again. Okay, this is especially true for people that are starting to advertise. I would want you to advertise for a long time. So if you have to spend less money and spend more time, because it's always, you know, the more money you have to spend, the less time you have to spend to get that data, right? The less money you have to spend, the more time you have to spend to get that data, right? So at the beginning, right, when you're starting your campaigns, my suggestion would be spend a little bit less money so that you can advertise for longer. Because what happens is that as people start seeing your face, they start seeing your ads, they start seeing your ads, they see your ads, they see your ads, they see your ads, they get to recognize you, and it is easier to transact with you or your brand. I had a call with a potential client like an hour ago, and he was like, dude, I see your ads everywhere and I've been seeing them for months. So this is why I wanted to hop on a call with you, right? So you get that effect the more you run your advertising campaigns. You know, Dan is somebody that advertises constantly. You know, most people, most successful entrepreneurs that I know, you know, again, Frank Kern, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, they keep on advertising. And the reason behind it is because it has the same effect that in television, right? The more you see something, the more you start to believe in it, the more you start to trust it, right? So if you are the singing voice of your company, you want to put yourself out there, you want to keep on advertising. So again, 10 to 30 ad sets at the beginning, and then the creatives is going to be the method that Dan showed you on the ad planner. Now, generally speaking, I like to start with 5 to 10 creatives. Now, the creatives is, again, an image, a video, and the copy. So generally speaking, I like to do this. I like to do one interest per ad set. Okay, so we're going to do one campaign. Okay, we're going to do this. One campaign. We're going to do one campaign here. We're going to do one interest per ad set. The budget is going to be set here at the ad set level. And then we're going to have 5 to 10 creatives per ad set. So these 5 to 10 creatives are usually all the same. So you can have 5 images with the same copy, right? 5 different images with the same copy, 10 different images with the same copy, or you can have one image with 5 different copy, right? Body copies and whatnot. But the main point is that you're going to be testing creatives at the beginning. So this is where the campaign starts. And what's going to happen is that here, from here on out, you're going to focus. I'm going to put this focus line right here, okay? So this focus line right here, this focus line right here is where your focus is going to be, okay? So your focus is going to be right here on testing audiences and figuring out what works, okay? So that's going to be your focus right here. So this is our focus line. This is where most of your work, most of your job is going to be, okay? Your work is going to be at the beginning of a campaign. It's going to be testing audiences and figuring out what works, all right? That's going to be the first stage of a campaign. Now, what's going to happen is that once you launch this, right, let's say that you want to generate leads for your lead magnet, or you want to generate buyers for your book, right? Or for your course. What's going to happen is that you will have one campaign, and then you will have 10 to 30 ad sets in the same campaign. And then for each ad set, you will have 5 to 10 creatives for each ad set, okay? My recommendation is just create one ad set with 5 creatives in it, and then duplicate that 10 times or 20 times and just change the interest. That's the way I like to do it. But again, this is all going to make a lot more sense when you get actually, get actual access to the course that we're going to put in the classroom. When we do that, I'm going to announce it, so don't worry about it. Now let's focus on the stages. So this is stage 1. And what's going to happen is that you're going to spend money, right? After a while, you're going to spend money. Whoops. So you're going to spend money. And at the same time, you're going to be spending time, right? Because let's say that 3 days goes past, or 4 days goes by, right? And what's going to happen is that you're going to have some ad sets that are winning and some ad sets that are losing, meaning some ad sets are going to give you $2 per lead, or $10 per buyer, or $50 per booked appointment, versus some other ad sets are going to give you $100 per booked appointment, or $30 per buyer, or $12 per lead. What you're going to do at that point, after 3 to 4 days, you're going to shut off those ad sets that are not performing. So now you know which audiences, at the beginning, you know which audiences are going to keep on responding to your ad. So those are your winning audiences and your winning ads. The same is going to happen at the creative level. Some creatives, some ads are going to give you amazing cost per lead, and some ads are going to give you really bad cost per lead or really bad cost per purchase. So what you're going to do is, after this process, you're going to end up with a handful of creatives and a handful of interests that you know work well. Why? Because you have spent the money, you have spent the time, and now you have the data. So you give money to Facebook, and then Facebook or Meta tells you, okay, these are your best audiences, these are your best creatives, these are your best pictures. So at that point, there's some scaling techniques that we can talk about, which is not the case of this training, but we're going to be talking about how to scale these ads that are working. So at this point, you have been spending money, you have been spending time. Now you know what creatives work, what audiences work, and what and basically what worked for you the first time around. So you keep those running. Okay, you shut off everything else. You shut off your worst ads. You shut off your worst targeting, and you keep everything else running. Now, what's going to happen here is, let me put another line here at the bottom. Okay, this is what we call the data line. Okay, so if this up top is the focus line, okay, I'm just going to put it here. So this is right here is the focus line. This is going to be at the bottom is going to be the data line. So what does that mean? Another thing that you want to focus at the beginning of a campaign, or before starting a campaign rather, is make sure that your Facebook pixel is properly installed. Okay? Facebook pixel is properly installed. Why? You might ask. Well, because what happens is that as you start sending traffic from these ad sets to your website, Facebook will start learning, will start implementing their machine learning algorithm, okay, that many of you guys have heard about. And what's going to happen is that Facebook will start implementing that, and it will start learning. It will become smarter. It will start learning about who your ideal client is. Why? Because some people are going to click on your ads, they're not going to do anything. Some are going to click on your ads and buy everything. So we want more buyers. So as time goes by, money goes into the platform and you get more data. What's going to happen is that you're going to move into stage number 2. Stage number 2 means that your focus right now, it's going to be, you're going to focus into scaling what works, okay? Scaling what works. So what you're going to do at this stage is you figured out what worked, right? We're going to keep the conversion campaign. We're going to keep the same campaigns. But now here's a couple of things that you can do to scale these ads that are working for you. What you can do, for example, is on those winning ad sets, You can scale 20% the budget every 48 hours. That's what I like to do. Okay. You can scale the budget every 20% every 48 hours. And then guess what? As you start collecting data into your pixel, what's going to happen is that you can start creating what we call lookalike audiences. What are lookalike audiences? Okay, let's say that you get 100 people visiting your website, or 200 people visiting your website, or watching your videos, or engaging with your content. Okay, what you can do on the Facebook dashboard is you can go in and create what's called a custom audience. So a custom audience is an audience of people that have done something on your website. Let's say become a lead or visited your website. Once you have 200 people, 300 people, 500 people that have visited your website, have watched your videos, have engaged with your page and whatnot, you can create a lookalike audience. A lookalike audience is an audience that grabs that first audience, right? These 200 people that visited your website, and now expands it using Facebook database. So now stage one is figuring out what works. Stage two is figuring out if you can spend more to get more, right? And this is how you do it. You're going to grab and you're going to scale your campaigns 20% every 48 hours, and you're going to create lookalike audiences, okay? Out of those audiences that are working. And you're also going to launch them using your winning creatives, okay? Because at this point, guess what? You already have winning creatives, okay? So the second stage focuses scaling what works, all right? And then what's going to happen is that you're going to spend more money and you're going to spend more time, right? At this point is where we usually start turning a profit, right? A stage two is where we usually start turning a profit. Stage one is all about finding what works, versus stage two is all about, scaling what works. And start to turn in a profit, because at this point we already have some ad sets and some creatives that are winning for us, right? That are profitable. So this is going to be our focus, and then stage number three, which is my personal favorite. Stage number three is we're going to be focusing on two things. Okay, so scaling that works. Here is where to be focusing on testing new creatives, okay? Testing new creatives. And here's why, okay? Stage three, right here, is what I like to call broad targeting, okay? I'm going to put it here, broad targeting. What does that mean? That means that at this point, you have your Facebook pixel properly installed, okay? You have your Facebook pixel properly installed. And all the while that you have been running ads, Facebook has been getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. So what's happening is that at this stage number three is that you can target everyone in the States if you want to. Like, you don't need to focus on, oh, I'm going to target these audiences and I'm going to figure out my interests and I'm going to figure out my lookalike audiences and I'm going to do all of this. No. You're past that. You're stage three, right? Stage three is when you get 1,000 leads, when you get 1,000 purchasers, when you get 500 booked appointments, when you are scaling, right? Stage three allows you to really leverage the learning mechanism that Facebook has to actually give you more results. So for some clients, we have campaigns that they're not targeting anyone. They're just targeting US men and women, 25 plus, and here we go. And that's it, right? That's who we target, because the pixel has enough data that it can go out and automatically find buyers for you. Right? So that's why you want to make sure that the Facebook pixel is properly installed, that you have your custom conversion set up the way Dan shows you and all of that. Because at this point, you can target everyone in your country, everyone in the region. We have a couple of clients even running like everyone in Europe, for example, right? And Facebook knows, the Meta pixel knows who to target, because we've been feeding it so much data. Now, what's going to happen is that on stage three, for all of you that are already running ads, that are advanced running ads, that have been running ads for a while, what's going to happen here is that on stage three, okay, is that while your targeting becomes so much easier, your targeting becomes so much easier. Why? Because you're basically targeting everyone now. There's nobody else to target because you're targeting everyone, right? You're targeting people in the millions, right? In the hundreds of millions sometimes. Your focus is going to be finding new winning creatives. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, where the real battle to see who gets the most amount of customers is fought. Okay, this you might have heard Dan Kennedy's maxim that says whoever can acquire the most amount of customers wins. Well, this is where the actual battle is fought. I remember that I once heard Russell Brunson on stage that both Russell Brunson and Dean Graziosi, they both launched a book. I think it was Traffic Secrets for Russell, and I think it was Millionaire Success Habits for Dean, right? At the same time or close to it, right? And the reality is that Dean's team, Dean Graziosi's team, and Dean, he was selling 4 to 5 times the amount of books than Russell was selling. And this, by the way, this is something that Russell told us on stage. And so Russell picked up the phone and called Dean, and he's like, "Hey, dude, what are you guys doing that you're selling 4 times as many books as we are?" And Dean asked him, "Okay, how many creatives are you putting out every single week?" And Russell said, "Well, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 creatives per week or per month, right?" And Dean was like, "Okay, yeah, we're putting that out per day. So we're putting out 5 new video creatives per day." So Dean was going to his son's football game, and he was like recording an ad for his Millionaire Success Habit book. And he would go on the street and he would record an ad for the Millionaire Success Habit book and whatnot. And he would send it to the team, and then it would get edited, and then they would get a new creative out, right? So, and then Russell saw that they were like falling behind because of the creative side of things. So what Russell did was like, they bumped that up, and lo and behold, they started selling 4 times as many books. So what I'm saying is that at this point, what you need to find and what you always need to be testing is new creatives, new videos, new images. And this is where Facebook ads becomes a machine, because the reality is that your Facebook pixel has so much data right now that you can scale your campaigns. You can be spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per day on these ads. And all you need to do is to make sure that you always have fresh creatives, fresh videos, fresh images, fresh copy, so that you can actually scale your campaigns. Okay. So in a nutshell, like in a 30,000 foot overview, right? In a nutshell, this is how scaling a Facebook ad campaign or launching a Facebook ad campaign from scratch all the way up to spending millions of dollars per year or thousands of dollars per day looks like. Okay. Now, here's why I want to share with you this, is because depending on your stage is what type of actions you want to take. And this is where I see a lot of entrepreneurs kind of ruin their campaigns or not knowing what to do next, because a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners or coaches and whatnot, they are already on stage 3. They already had success. They already have pixel data. They have 200, 500, 1,000 visitors, 200, 500, 1,000 leads and whatnot. So they should be on stage 3, but they're still thinking, who should I be targeting? They're already thinking as if they were on stage 1. Oh, I need to target the right audience. I need more audiences. And the reality is that you need to switch your brain to think from targeting into creative, right? Right now, you can launch, if you're on stage 3, you can launch, super broad audiences or super broad targeting, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But here's where the game is played, in finding new creatives. Conversely, I see a lot of people that they don't get results. Why? Because they are thinking on stage 3. They're thinking, oh, I need to create new ads. I need new ads. I need new creatives. And you haven't even started your campaigns, or you haven't even started testing your audiences. You don't even know, you don't even have enough data. So it doesn't make sense for you to have 100 videos created if you haven't even started your ads, right? Or if you are just spending a couple, $10, $20 a day, right? And the same in the middle. Like a lot of people are on stage 2, they're thinking on stage 3, or stage 2 thinking on stage 1, or vice versa. So depending on where you're at right now, you want to utilize this and you want to focus on what matters. Because when you focus on what matters, your campaigns are going to win. If you focus on what doesn't matter, then you're going to A, lose time, and B, you're not going to win. Okay. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it in the classroom there in the community. But I hope this makes sense. I just wanted to give you, again, a 30,000 foot overview of how we're doing this. There's going to be material that we're going to be uploading on stage 1, on stage 2, on stage 3. I'm going to show you how to launch a campaign from scratch. I'm going to show you what we're doing to scale. It's just a couple of things that we're doing to scale. And then here, you can have more than one campaign. So I'm going to put 2 more campaigns. Okay, campaigns. And then we're going to show you like really advanced targeting stuff on how to find new creatives and our process and all of that. But I just wanted to kind of set the stage on how we're doing things and what you want to do and how you want to think in the different stages. Okay. So with that being said, let's start with the Q&A, shall we? So put your questions if you have any questions about anything, just put them in the Q&A. You have a Q&A section. I see a lot of questions in the chat, and I don't want to miss them, so make sure that you put them in the Q&A. Okay, cool. So let me actually stop here. Julie saying guilty as charged, create a ton of stuff and spend pennies on each thing. Yes, that's and that's something that happens a lot. Okay, cool. So, all right, cool. So let's see. All right. Cool. So Kevin is asking, is it better to use a free or low-cost lead magnet currently? And do you prefer open on interest targeting in general? That's a great question, Kevin. As I mentioned, when it comes to targeting, I think I answered that question. It depends on the stage of your campaign. If you're starting, it's better to do interest targeting. And as you progress, you can do a lot more open targeting. Now, my personal preference is that I don't really like free lead magnets. My personal preference, I don't really like free lead magnets. I would very much rather charge at least $1 or $7 for a lead magnet, because especially when you're spending ads, okay? When you're spending ads, take a look at what Done does and see if you can replicate that, because what Done has been doing is he's been doing these $29 offers with a couple of upsells, right? And that allows you not only to get leads, because if you have a 2-step order form, you will get leads, you will capture leads to your list, but also it will get you a much higher quality of people in your list, because now you're getting buyers instead of free leads. Okay.
Ooh, can I jump in here really quick?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to pick your brain on this. So you may remember originally we taught that they should do a lead magnet to build up the initial list. So are you saying, just so we're clear, that even if you're brand new, so let's say no list, no audience, you're going to do some organic strategies, but you want to move quicker, right? Like you want to spend a little and spend, a little less time and a little more money. Would you still say, yeah, go ahead and try to guess about it, like a small low ticket offer, or would you use a lead magnet for somebody who has nothing, essentially starting from scratch?
That's a great distinction. That's a great question. Thank you for telling me that, and thank you for making that distinction. I think that when you're starting out from scratch, when you're building, like you're going organically and whatnot, and you're building your list, I think that lead magnets is a good idea. When you're trying to organically build that list. Now, when it comes to ads, I don't necessarily like to run ads to lead magnets. Okay, so if you're starting from scratch, if you're trying to build your list, if you're trying to, do like a phantom offer, or if you're trying to, gather some interest in what you're doing, and you're trying to build that list initially with a lead magnet, I think that's fine, because you're reaching out to your, your sphere of influence, your community and whatnot. I think that's great. Now, when it comes to running ads, I personally prefer to run ads to a low ticket offer rather than a lead magnet, because what's going to happen is that, you're going to pay regardless. You're going to pay for leads, or you're going to pay for buyers, right? Regardless, you're going to pay for whatever it is that you're doing, because you're buying that traffic. With a low ticket offer, I prefer that, because that means that you will recoup at least some of the investment that you're putting back on ads. Then we can go into acquisition funnels, how they work and whatnot. But if you can recoup some of that investment, that means that you're not going out of pocket 100% to build that list. But that's a great distinction, Carla, in terms of how to do things. And I think that you should be doing, you know, what we just said, which is organically go to town, do a lead magnet. It could be a presentation. If you're selling high ticket, you could do a presentation or do something like that. But for ads, I would suggest you do a low ticket first, you know, or I mean, the way I talk about a lead magnet, or what a lead magnet is you're going something, you're giving away a PDF, or a guide or something like that in exchange of an email, right? If you have like a long form presentation or something like that to sell high ticket, I think that you can still get people to watch that long form presentation. That will be a better lead magnet than just the PDF. Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you. Cool. Jamie is asking how to best target the right audience for my SaaS that serves only ClickFunnels users. That's a great question, Jamie, and we can go a little bit deeper into this. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. In fact, you can, this is kind of an advanced technique, but you can dive into third-party data. So third-party data, places like DeepSync Labs or Audience Lab, these are places that give you access to data that is not readily available on Facebook, okay? So I'm pretty sure that at this point you can create lookalike audiences, okay, from your own list and from the stuff that you have going on, because you have a big list, a big following. So I would suggest start there. But at the same time, what I would suggest is if you get a DeepSync Labs or an Audience Lab subscription, this is data that comes from Equifax, TransUnion, MasterCard, Visa. This is data that comes from places like Apollo and other sources. So you can actually grab a list of people that are using ClickFunnels out of these audiences, okay? So that might help you. So if you, or for example, if you go to apollo.com and get a list of people that are using ClickFunnels as a technology, okay? If you do that, you can grab that list. Now, the problem with that is that if you just grab that list and upload it into Facebook, you're not going to have a lot of results, because those are, generally speaking, work emails and work phones and whatnot, and Facebook is mostly personal data. However, if you run that list through something like DeepSync Labs, or Ads Lab, then they can enrich that data, right? They can enrich that data with personal accounts, and that will give you a lot better data that you can target with, okay? So again, search a little bit into third-party data, or just drop me a DM and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, it's pretty cool. Okay, cool. Let's see. Aaron is asking, can a $1,500 product work with a long-form VSL without a phone call with Facebook ads? Yes, the answer is yes. And you can do this through a webinar or a long-form VSL. But yes, like I've seen webinars or even a challenge, you know. So I'm gonna sorry everyone. It's Apollo.io. Yes, thank you for the correction. DeepSync Labs and Audience Lab. Okay, there you go. Boom, it's on the chat. So Aaron, going back to your question, yes, you can do that through either a webinar or a challenge, or a long-form VSL. Yes, you can do a long-form VSL. Generally, when it comes to VSLs, we are experimenting a lot with 25 to 35-minute long VSLs to sell high ticket. Now, if you're going to sell a $1,500 product out of cold traffic, then you may want to have a longer presentation, you know, maybe an hour long or something like that. You know, I probably wouldn't go all the way to a 2-hour long webinar like we used to, right? We used to have those. They're not working as well anymore, probably because it has to do with the shortened time spans of people, like short of attention spans, I should say. But you can totally sell. I've seen, you know, products up to $1,997, so $1,997 sold out of a webinar or a challenge of sorts. Okay, so. Okay, cool. Let's see. Jason is asking, What are your thoughts about video creatives versus images for a low ticket product? Should these be tested within the same ad set? Great question, Jason. You can totally test this. For low ticket products, in general, here's my strategy in general, is that I like to run video ads for cold traffic. Okay, so top of funnel, cold traffic, I like to run video ads. Why? Not only because you can, create a lot more trust and create a lot more authority in a video than in an image, right? So these are generally video ads with shorter copy, okay, like 3 or 4 lines of copy. So that's what I like to do. So not only it allows you to kind of break the ice with people that do not know who you are, but also it allows you to create audiences based on video consumption. What do I mean? You can go to custom audiences and you create audiences based on people that watch 50% of your video, 75% of your video, 95% of your video. If your video ad is 2 to 3 minutes long, then you know that even if people didn't buy, if they watch 95% of a video, that's a really good engaged audience. So generally speaking, videos top of funnel. Now for retargeting, I like to run image ads because people already seen your face, they already seen your product, they might have visited and whatnot. Then they just need a reminder. So in that case, I'd like to run image ads with a little bit longer form copy. This is like a rule of thumb, okay? I would suggest you test both. You test image ads and video ads on the front end. Generally speaking, video ads, in my opinion, work a little bit best for low ticket products. And should these be tested in the same ad set? Great question. The answer is no. Here's why. If you have video creatives versus image creatives, videos on platforms like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot, they have a lot more placements to be shown. You had a video feed, you have a bunch of places that video could be shown. If you put a video and an image in the same ad set, the video will get the lion's share of the budget. It will get the lion's share of the impressions in that same ad set. So no, you want to separate when you're testing videos, have them all in one ad set. When you're testing images, have them all in one ad set, because otherwise videos are going to eat up most of the budget and your image ads will not get a lot of impressions. That's what I like to do. I like to separate them for that same reason. Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. So Mariana is asking, any tips on creating tons of different creatives? Yeah. So if you want to save some time when it comes to tons of different creatives, you can use dynamic creatives, for example. But here's the thing. When it comes to creatives, the way I see it is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time, right? So if you have an image or a video, and you can write one piece of copy, now you have ChatGPT that can help you rewrite the whole thing, but you can write one piece of copy and then you can make slight changes to that piece of copy, to that body copy. And that will give you a lot of creatives. If you have a working image, you can grab that image and you can increase the contrast on that image. Or you can, if you have text on it, take the text out. If you don't have text, add text in. If you have a video, you can try different aspect ratios, like different sizes of the same video. You can also increase the contrast. You can try a black and white version of the video. You can add captions or take captions out. You can add emojis to the text. So it's not necessarily hard to create a ton of creatives. Okay, it's not necessarily hard. And again, for copy, you can just go to ChatGPT and get copy rewritten in like 70 ways, until the end of the year. So that would be it. Now, if you really want to push when it comes to creatives, you can use dynamic ads. So if you have dynamic ads, you can add 10 images, 5 different body copies, and Facebook will mix and match them all together. Okay. Some people love it. I like dynamic ads when we're launching. Some people don't like them. But yeah, that's basically up to you. Let's see. Is it preferable to focus more on testing different copy or different creatives in each particular ad set? That's a great question, Mariana. And generally speaking, if you think about it, the most of the real estate of the ad, right? Most of the real estate of the ad, it's going to be occupied. It's going to be taken by the image or the video, right? So if you're going to focus on testing something, generally speaking, test something that matters the most, right? And that on that case would be either the image or the video. So if it was up to me, I would create 10 different images and run it with one body copy. That's what I like to do, right? Like 10 different images. Why? Because that means that I have, like, if you take a look at the real estate, like how much screen real estate the copy takes versus the image wins, right? Or the video wins. So if it was up to me, I would focus on testing the images or the videos first and then the copy, if that makes sense. That's the number one thing that moves the needle the most, is either the video or the image. Okay. So let's see. Julie is asking, do you recommend doing an email opt-in to view something like a VSL, or just hosting it on Facebook and have people click on it and then retargeting them? It definitely depends on your offer, Julie. Generally speaking, for high ticket coaches, for high ticket coaching or coaches, what we like to do is to send traffic to a VSL. So we send traffic to an opt-in page. When they opt in, then they watch the VSL and then they can schedule a call. So it depends on what you're selling, right? Depends on what you're selling. Generally speaking, we send traffic to an opt-in, they will opt in and they will go to a VSL after the fact, and then they can, book an appointment, or they can apply, they can book an appointment and whatnot. Hosting it on Facebook and having people click on it, then retargeting them, it could probably work. But again, if you host that VSL on Facebook, you need to be able to retarget people that are at least consuming 75% of the VSL. Okay. So yeah, I would just send them to opt in and to watch the VSL after they opt in. So, okay, cool. So Mariana is asking, could you give us an example of interest that we should test? My niche are digital entrepreneurs, coaches, service providers who are 200,000 in revenue. I would suggest also that you take a look at third-party audiences, Mariana, because third-party audiences, Facebook used to allow you to target based on household income, but they took that option out probably 2 years ago. But you can still target based on household income if you use something like DeepSync Labs or Audience Lab. Okay, if you do that, you can still target on household income, and you can very much target people that are making 200K and plus. Okay, so I'd suggest you do that. The other option, what I like to do, is you can target, for example, names of coaches like Brendan Burchard, Gary Vaynerchuk, people that like this type of people, right? Frank Kern and whatnot. And then you can layer that with Facebook page admins, right? People that are already that they have a Facebook page under their name. So Facebook page admins. You can do the same with Instagram profile admins, okay? Or business profiles, I would say, Instagram business profile admins. Or you can use Facebook payment users. So that will tell you that these are people running ads. Okay, so Facebook payment users over the past 30 days or 90 days, those are additional options that are within the Facebook dashboard that allows you to target these type of people. But I would probably start with, also, if you can get a lookalike audience and layer them with interest, that generally works really well. But names plus Facebook page admins or something like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Is the test duration you recommend for ads only 2 to 3 days? Is that the case also if your pixel is relatively young? Great question, Mariana. And it all comes down to budget. If you're spending $100 a day, you can leave this running for 3 to 4 days and you will get some data, right? Generally speaking, the minimum that I would suggest is 72 hours. And I know that you need to resist the temptation of touching your ads after launching them, but 72 hours is the bare minimum that I would leave a campaign running before doing anything. But it has to do with the budget. If you start at $100 a day, if you start at $50 a day, you might need to leave your ads running for a week before making a decision. Because if you think about it, if you have an ad set at $5 a day and you're trying to get leads, it might take that ad set 2 days to get you one lead, right? So $10 a lead. So that would be 72. That would be a minimum of a week. The more you spend, the faster you can make decisions. I told you that, we went with Jeff Lerner, we took him from $30,000 a month in ad spend to $1.5 million a month. So I think that was like 50,000 a day or something like that. Let me do the math real quick. Yeah, that is $50,000 per day, you know? So at that point, we could make decisions 3, 4, 5 times a day because we had so much data coming in so fast. So we could split test a landing page and we could make 5 iterations in a day, right? Now, if you're spending $50 a day, then you might need to take longer. So my suggestion is at least 72 hours, especially when the pixel is relatively young. You may want to keep things running for longer. Generally speaking, I like to keep things running for maybe a little bit longer, maybe another 12 hours, maybe another day, and then shut it off if it's not working, okay? I heard Dan said that Meta AI is smarter than we are without targeting. How do we handle that? Yes, and that's true. That's true, John. Like the reality is that Meta AI is definitely smarter. I like to guide it initially a little bit, at least at the beginning. Now, the testing phase, stage number 1, has become shorter and shorter and shorter. Okay, so it used to take us like maybe, I don't know, a month or 2 of pixel seasoning before we could actually go after, you know, broad audiences. But now it's not the case. So the window to kind of guide it in the right direction is shorter and shorter and shorter. Okay, so maybe in like 2 weeks you can start trying broader audiences. So it does get smarter and it gets a lot more data. That's why I like to give a lot of power to the network, if you would. Okay, I like to give power to the network a lot, like automatic placements, for example, dynamic ads, broader audiences, sometimes even campaign budget optimization that we're going to talk about. Okay, CBOs, right? And the more power you give to the network, generally speaking, the better your campaigns perform, provided that your pixel is properly installed. Okay, and you're giving Facebook the right type of data. Okay, but again, the window has shortened when it comes to testing ads or testing audiences. Initially, it needs a little bit of guidance in the right direction. Mostly, especially if you want to get qualified leads, right? If you want to get qualified leads, if you want to get qualified calls, if you want to get people like that are really qualified, it needs a little bit of guidance at the beginning. Okay. So Jeremy is asking, what if we start with a very low budget, $20 per day? Can you scale more than 20%? You know, what happens is that if you scale more than 20% every 48 hours or 10% every 24 hours, what's going to happen is that you're going to reset the learning phase of that ad set or that campaign. So it doesn't matter at what budget you start. What matters is the percentage that you scale it up every single day. If you want to scale faster, what you can do is you can double the ad set, like duplicate the ad set and double the budget. Okay, but that will be a new ad set. All right, so you can do both things. You can grab that ad set and bump it up 20% every 48 hours or 10% every 24 hours, right? Or you can duplicate that ad set and double the budget. Okay, and see how that goes. So, but those are like different ad sets now. All right. So whenever you go past that, like this, the reason why I say 20% every 48 hours is because if you go past that, the chances of the ad or the ad set going back to the learning phase, they go up. You know, so there's a chance that it will go back to the learning phase, and you want to avoid that, because otherwise, you know, it's basically resetting the ads for the next couple of days. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, can you explain again what scale 20% every 48 hours? Are we increasing the budget on the ads with the winning creatives targeting by 20% every 48 hours? Yes. After the testing phase, you're going to end up, after those first 5 to 7 days, you're going to turn off all of the ad sets that are not working and turn off all of the ads that are not working. So you're going to end up with a bunch of good ads with good audiences, right? With good ad sets. You can grab those ad sets and you can bump up the budget of those ad sets 20% every 48 hours. So once you've been through this first cycle of testing, that's where quote unquote scaling starts. But you're scaling those ad sets that are winning. Okay. And you can keep on doing that. You can keep bumping the budget up 20% every 48 hours. We'll do a full training on scaling, so don't worry about that. I just want to give you some tips right now so that you can start implementing. Let's see. how long or how much money or impressions, or I don't know, do we need until we graduate from stage 1 to stage 2? Great question, Julie. It's generally a matter of events. What do I mean? Let's say that you are optimizing your ads for leads, right? Or for purchasers, right? In order for you to graduate from stage 1 to stage 2, you want to get at least 200 of that event that you're optimizing towards. So for the very minimum is 200. The more, the better. But the very minimum that I would recommend is 200. So what do I mean? I mean that you need at least 200 leads or 200 buyers or 200 calls, whatever it is that you're optimizing your ads for, in order for you to graduate from stage 1 to stage 2. And in order for you to graduate from stage 2 to stage 3, what you need to do is you need to get at least 500 to 1,000 of that same event. So 1,000 leads, 1,000 buyers, 1,000 phone calls, whatever it is. Okay. So that's how you know that you have graduated. You can see that if you go into your events manager in Facebook. If you open your Facebook ads dashboard, you go to your events manager, you will be able to see how many leads you got detected by Facebook over the past 30 days. And if you got more than 200, then you can start running broader and broader audiences. Okay, so now you're on stage 2. Okay, congratulations, you have graduated. Okay, let's see. One delay. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. I didn't want to, but here we are. What types of creatives have you seen work well for call audiences in stage 1 versus stage 3? Again, I think that video ads, they tend to work a little bit better for call audiences because it depends on what you're selling, right? But most of you told me that you were selling, information or coaching and whatnot. So when that happens, you want to create trust. You want to create authority. You want people to like you even before they land on your website, right? Even before they click on your ad. That's why I always say that you want to make your ads helpful. Because if you think about it, your ads will get the lion's share of the eyeballs that your business gets, right? Your ads are those things that people will watch, people will see, even more than your organic content. So your ads, in my opinion, they need to be helpful. Wouldn't you want that thing that people are watching the most of to be the most helpful as possible, right? So when that happens, what happens is that people will consume that content and then you can retarget them. So I would say videos for cold. Again, rule of thumb, you need to test this because I'm telling you what I know, my rule of thumb. Videos for cold and then images for retargeting. Now, again, stage 1 versus stage 3, that has to do with volume and data and budget and scale. The targeting, the creative side of things doesn't necessarily change. Okay. Really, really good questions, guys. Amazing questions, by the way. Super cool questions. Okay. All right, cool. Matthias is saying, we're selling info in the men's dating niche. Okay. The main obstacle we faced was that Facebook blocked our ads most of the time. We don't really know how to make it compliant. You got any insights of this? Yes. I've run a decent amount of dating. For example, I don't know if you know Marnie Kearney's. We run ads for her. We advise her as well. And she's crushing it. She's crushing it on Facebook. There's two things, and this applies for every type of restricted or banned niche on Facebook. Well, if it's banned, it's banned. Okay, we're talking about dating that could be restricted, not necessarily banned, but it's restricted. Okay, you need to have two things in mind. You need to have the number one thing that you need to have is compliance ads, but the other really important thing is compliant landing pages. Okay, because when a Facebook rep or the Facebook AI is taking a look at it, they're going to take a look at those two things. They're going to take a look at your ads, but they're also going to take a look at your landing pages. So what do? Generally speaking, what I like to do is to run way lesser versions, like way cleaner versions on Facebook ads and have way cleaner landing pages without any like keywords that might trigger the algorithm. Like, for example, stuff like get laid or stuff like, those type of things, right? Like, see what Andrew Tate is doing and don't do that because he's bad, right? I mean, I like Andrew, but you know what I'm saying, in terms of ad compliancy, you need to be mindful about it. So the point here is that you want to kind of, you know, quite literally, you need to have vanilla ads for Facebook. You need to have vanilla ads. You need to have vanilla copy. You need to have vanilla images. And this is for the sake of the safety and the security of your ad account, of your business manager, of your pixel, and even of your own Facebook profile, right? Because if you get a lot of ads blocked, then eventually you're going to lose the ad account. So in order for you to keep on advertising for a long time, even if that means that it will decrease conversions, which probably will, you need to use all of your quote unquote aggressive or more in your face type of copy and whatnot. You can do that for organic, and you can do that for email, and you can do it for backend after somebody opts in, because Facebook AI or the Facebook rep will not go past a barrier, meaning an opt-in or a buy or something like that. They're not going to check your app sales. If you're selling a product, they're not going to check your app sales. Okay, they're not going to check what you're offering after an opt-in. What they're going to check is the ad and the landing page. So on both those cases, you need to be as vanilla as possible. I had a client that she used to sell these courses for women on how to, I think it was how to reach better orgasms or something like that. And it was a lot about that energy and feminine energy and sexual energy and all of that. And when she came to us, she couldn't run ads. Like the reality is it was that. So what we had to do is we had to tone down everything that has to do with her ads and her landing pages. And we had to tone it down. We had to do specific ads and specific landing pages for Facebook. And it worked. Like we could run her for a long time. We could run her ads for a long time without any issues. And then on the back end, somebody opted in and whatnot. She could say whatever she wanted, right? But that's something that you want to do, especially on the dating niche. So if you have any ads that you want me to review, just put them on the community and tag me, right? And I'll review the copy. I'll review, you know, in terms of compliance, because compliance is really, really important. So no problem about that. Cool. All right. Let's see. Let's say your pixel has data on one specific country and you want to run ads in another country. Do we need to begin from stage one again? That's a great question. And the answer is, it depends on the niche. Okay. It depends on the niche. Generally speaking, changing countries doesn't bother to your pixel. Okay. It doesn't bother. What's going to change is that if you if you change niches altogether, let's say that you're selling dog food and you want to start selling surfboards, then at that point you need two different pages, two different niches, two different pixels and whatnot. Just changing countries doesn't bother your pixel. So if the niche is the same, if you're targeting the same people but in different countries, you can totally use the same niche, the same pixel. In fact, the second country is going to become easier than the first one because now you have all of that pixel data. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Zach is asking, do you recommend setting up server-side tracking? Yes, good sir, I do. Now, server-side tracking is kind of without going into the weeds of that, server-side tracking is basically your server talking directly to the Facebook pixel, bypassing what's called, the web pixel. And this has become more and more common since iOS 14. Okay. So iOS 14 has allowed server-side tracking to kind of flourish, if you will. Now, again, I don't want to get too techie on this. If you don't want to set server-side tracking, there's some other options out there, like Hyros, for example. There's AnyTrack. Okay, so AnyTrack, Hyros, something like that. That should be enough. Okay, if you're using Hyros, that's all you need. You don't need to set up server-side tracking because they take care of it. Okay, Hyros is going to be talking directly to the Facebook pixel. One of the things that these third-party tracking tools do is to help you with this issue of privacy. Okay, so yeah, so have that in mind. Okay, cool. Michael is asking, what make leads swing from week to week with the same ad? That's a great question, Michael. And you know what? I think human nature, I think human nature, to be honest. So yeah, sometimes and some weeks Facebook works better, and some weeks it doesn't. And some days it works good, and some days it does not. So what we like to do on Facebook is to take a look at 7 days, 14 days, 30 days results. So if our campaigns are progressing in the right direction, then we keep on scaling. So we're not trying to day trade or anything like that, because it will swing, it will change. The reality is that the bid is always changing, Michael. So that means that on some days of the week, you will get amazing quality traffic because your automatic bids, unless you're doing manual bid, which is kind of a little bit more advanced. But if you're doing manual bidding, then your bids will stay constant. But if you're doing automatic bidding, which is 99% of people out there, that means that some cases, when the rest of the bids are low, you're going to get a premium position for premium traffic. But some other days, for some reason, it will be more competitive, and then your ad will be seen by quote unquote less quality traffic. Less quality traffic just from the perspective of how much money they're spending in general, how responsive they are. That's all data that Facebook already has, that Meta already has. Okay, so it will fluctuate based on the bid. So that's the name of the game, the way it is. Cool. Okay, CC is asking how to create a pixel. You can go to the Facebook ads or the Meta training center, and if you search how to create a pixel, it's going to show up. There's I think at this point there might be 2.5 million tutorials out there on how to create a pixel. You want to start there, CC. You definitely want to start there. I don't right now we don't have the time to actually go through the actual setup of the pixel, but the Facebook Ads Planner that Dan is launching has that, and I think that he's going to give it to you for free. So it's going to be in this community. So it has that step-by-step instructions. Okay. Let's see. Aaron is asking, in order to increase the amount of creative to test, can you just record a bunch of different hooks to the same video? Yes, Aaron, you can. That's what we did with Jeff, actually, with Jeff Lerner, because you can imagine that at 1.5 million a month, we were spending, we were going through a ton of creatives. So what we did is we gave him 15 different hooks for him to record, and then he will record the 15 different hooks, and then he will record the body of the creative, which, that's another way of creating a ton of video creatives, is just keep the body the same, the meat of the creative, just keep it the same and just change the hook. Okay. And that's exactly what we did. So we will record 15 different hooks in one go, and the hooks were 5 seconds long. So he would pop them out, and then the video guys will, splice that with the rest of the video, and then we'll have 15, 20, 30, 50 different creatives in one sitting. So yes, totally, 100%. Great idea. Let's see. Would you use the same system for low ticket, lifetime value for about 2K? Well, is that low ticket? Is that low ticket or mid ticket? What's your sales process, Niels? If you tell me, the same system would be if you're selling a $1997 product, then if that's the case, then you can sell it out of a long form webinar or VSL or something like that. Anything above that, you may want to hop on a call with people. Okay, 2,500, $3,000. You want to hop on a call with people. Okay, but I would like to know more about what you mean with LTV of about 2K. Okay. How do you feel? Jason is asking, how do you feel about stacked interest versus one interest per ad set? Depends on the stage. Okay, on stage 1, it's always one interest per ad set. On stage 2, I might try stacked interest. I might definitely try stacked interest. Okay, by the way, stacked interests are just putting together a bunch of interests in the same ad set. And that, for me, it's considered a scaling technique. Okay, so it's a scaling technique. And then Niels is saying, I'm a guitar teacher. People pay $100 a month, stay for 2 years, 2K. Yeah, well, that's a great point. But you're selling a continuity program. Okay, you're not selling a $2,000 product. You're selling a continuity program. So continuity programs are really cool. Like, for example, sending traffic to a low ticket item. Okay, again, $7, $27, $29, and then upselling them into your guitar community. That works extremely well. That works extremely, extremely well. From ads to a low ticket product, especially for guitar people. Oh man, you're going to crush it. So $7, something like that, quick guide, and then you upsell them into your guitar, your Guitar Academy. And then you can have a downsell for a trial, for a free trial or a $1 trial. I prefer $1 trials. Danny's doing a lot of free trials, which I respect him because he's growing this amazing community. So yeah, in a nutshell, do what Dan is doing. Okay, do what Dan does. There you go. Okay, cool. So let's see. Let's go through a couple more here. Thank you guys for the questions. This is amazing. All right. Okay, cool. So let's see. For a local campaign, when the conversion happens in Messenger, is there a way to track the conversion and feed that data back to Facebook? That's a great question, Anthony. And if you're saying that the conversion happens in Messenger, what do you mean? That means that like you are getting leads in Messenger or you're getting DMs. Like if you tell me what does that mean when the conversion happens in Messenger, that's great. Because here's the good news. When you're doing lead generation ads or keeping people in Messenger, Facebook already has all of that data because you're keeping them in their same ecosystem. Okay. Now, when you take them out of their ecosystem, you send them to a calendar, you send them to a landing page, you send them somewhere else, then you need to feed that data back to Facebook. Okay. Then you need to feed that data back to Facebook. But as long as you keep them within Facebook, then Facebook already has all of that data. Okay. Cool. I have several thousand. Ben is asking, I have several thousand customers already, but not all were through Facebook ads, quite a lot through organic. Nice. Would you advise I use that email list as a lookalike audience as a starting point or start fresh with interest targeting in stage one? You can most definitely use that as a lookalike audience. And if you got quite a bunch of customers through Facebook ads, you can start stage two. Okay, stage one is when you're starting from scratch. You can test some interest, I would say, but I would definitely start with lookalike audiences right off the bat. Even if many of those were not through Facebook ads, pretty sure that Facebook can recognize them, especially if they came through organic. Okay. Aaron is asking, what is the highest daily ad spend you recommend one ad set to scale to? There's no limit. As long as that ad set keeps on providing to you, as long as that ad set keeps on giving you good leads, good purchases and whatnot, keep on scaling that. Keep on scaling that. I haven't seen a limit. Like we have ad sets at 10,000 a day, 20,000 a day, so yeah. Let's see. Mariana is asking, can you talk about any difference between ads for low ticket lead magnets and ads for events, challenges, masterclasses, etc.? Yes, Mariana, great question. Generally speaking, what we like to do is to run when we're running ads for a low ticket, let's say a $7, $27, $29, $37, something like that, we optimize our ads for purchasers. Okay. We optimize our ads for purchasers. When we're running ads for a masterclass, for a challenge, something like that, we optimize our ads for leads because the challenge will start in a couple days. Okay. The masterclass will start in a couple days. So we want to get as many people as possible registered for that masterclass. For that challenge coming up. So generally speaking, that's the main difference is what's our main objective? Of course, in all cases, our main objective is to generate ROAS, but the main difference is that you either get an immediate purchase, which I get with a challenge, you can get an immediate purchase with a VIP upsell, but you can get the sole purpose of a low ticket tripwire, low ticket campaign is to get you buyers right away versus a challenge. The goal is to get you as many people as possible in that webinar, in that challenge. Okay, so that's something to consider. Now, to answer to your question that you're saying, you've been optimizing for a VIP. See you, Jamie. Thank you for jumping in. You've been optimizing for sales. If that's working for you, keep at it. That's what we do. We optimize for leads. Okay, because you want to get as many people as possible in the challenge. Okay, or attending the masterclass.
I actually have a follow-up for that, if you don't mind. So one of the guys in Offer Kickstart is I'm working closely with those guys, as you may have heard. So I talk to them quite often, multiple times a week. And one of them is going to do live webinars, right? So he took some ad training through someone else, and they suggested that for cold ads to get people onto this live webinar, to do like 3 ad sets, launch them at the same time, same audience, same creative, everything the same, and then just turn off what's not working. But the result is a pretty expensive registration. I think he said it was around $100 per registration, which is a
Okay.
no bueno, right? I mean, it's like he's a week out. So in that situation, what would you suggest for somebody who has something that's going to be live? Like you said, they really do need to optimize for leads. How do you get the most out of this next week?
Yeah, that's a great question. And generally speaking, yes, that's a great question. And generally speaking, we want to start promoting as close to the event as possible, but not as close enough that we don't have enough traction, right? So around a week before the event. That's kind of the sweet spot, because we have tried with 2 weeks before the event, and people, especially for cold traffic, people, they forget, right? They forget about it, and they don't, they don't end up attending. So I think that if you start a campaign 7 days away from that webinar using stage 1, like try many different interests and whatnot, and then you can be pretty quick, let's say 24 to 48 hours later, start disabling those assets that are not working, and then start scaling those assets that are. This is going to be for the first time around. Then for the next webinar that you do, you will know, at that point, you will know what your audiences work the best, what creatives work the best, so you will have that data, so you can relaunch ads to that same audience, so you collect the data first time, but then the subsequent challenges or webinars that you do, you will have data already collected. Does that make sense, Carla?
Yeah, 100%. So what you're saying also for going forward, you would turn those ads off in between, but then you would relaunch a new ad. You wouldn't just turn the ad back on, or would you turn the ad back on?
So it depends on how long they stay off, because an ad that stays off for over 3 days, I would rather relaunch. If they stay off for over 3 days, right? So it depends on your frequency of the webinars.
Perfect.
That's in my experience, that's what happens. So you can turn off an ad today and then turn it on tomorrow, and should be good. But the next time that you do the webinar, let's say that you do 2 webinars per month, you will be running a campaign every 2 weeks, right? So if you do this, then the next time you already have the data to go after. You already have, creatives, audiences, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Perfect. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. All right. Yeah, Ben, this course is priced at 99 pounds and below. Yes, man. Get at it with your audience. Mariana is asking, we're retargeting in stage 2. Yes, that's a great question. And we can start retargeting on stage 1, actually, because with stage 1, you will start getting traffic. Okay. And we're going to start retargeting as soon as possible. People ask me when I start my retargeting campaigns, I say immediately. Okay. Even if at the beginning, you don't get any reach, or you don't get any delivery, or you don't, they're there waiting for traffic, right? You just want to start the retargeting immediately. So CC is asking what software to use for images. Canva.com. That's the software that you want to use for images. It's the fastest, the easiest to use. You can go to Photoshop. You can do all of that, but Canva.com. Canva.com is your friend. Let's see. Aiste, I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. You mentioned on top of funnel, you would run video ads. You would still have conversion objective or video views first. Probably traffic objective as cheaper option, and retargeting those who watch, you said 50-75%. No. You want to run conversion ads, conversion campaign objective with video ads, because you will still get people to consume the content. You will still get people to go through the content, right? But you will get buyers and sales and leads. And then on top of that, you can retarget people that watch those video ads, but always use conversion objectives. Always use conversion objectives. We can talk about some other quote unquote, what I call secondary campaign objectives, like video views, how we're using it, engagement, lead gen, etc., traffic. But right off the bat, conversion ads with video ads, and you can actually retarget those folks. Let's see. For high ticket VSL, what do you recommend for B2B space? Landing page to VSL or Facebook lead ad to VSL? That's a great question. And we run a lot of B2B. I would say 95% of our ads are B2B. and the results are coming landing page to VSL. So conversion ad to opt-in to VSL, right? And that's how we do it. Now, the only way that we could make Facebook lead ads work is by using AI. So by using an AI setter or by using something like that, because the quality of a Facebook lead ad, you need to reach out to them immediately. So and if not, they don't work. Okay, if you take more than 5 minutes, and this is something like Dan also said, is that if you take more than 5 minutes to reach out to a lead that comes in, the chances of reaching out to that person at all they go down by 800%. That is crazy. So no, so just run a landing page to VSL unless you can do some sort of AI, but yeah, but no. Okay, cool. You guys are having a really good conversation here. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's see. Linking is asking, hi, please give me some thoughts on the process of running ads for local business. What are best copy, offer, and creative for beauty salon? Offers, if you wanna see good offers, go to the Facebook ads library and see what other beauty salons are running. So you can go to the Facebook ads library, so search for Facebook ads library, and that will give you access to the entire library of active ads right now. So if you have competitors and they're running ads, or if you come across beauty salons, you can actually pop those in and see what type of ads they're running, what type of offers they're running, what type of creatives they're running, and that will give you a lot of ideas. The main point for local businesses, the main point for local businesses is the offer itself. That's the main point. That's the key point. The offer itself. $20 teeth whitening or free nails with your, free pedi with your mani or something like that, right? So take a look at what other beauty salons are doing and you can emulate what they're doing, okay? But that's the main thing. If you want to test something for anything local, if you want to test something, test the offer first. That's the thing that you want to do. You want to have like 5 different campaigns with 5 different offers. The one that's giving you the best cost per booking or the best cost per lead, that's the one that you want to go after, okay? Cool. Let's see. Do you think that Facebook might divert more of the budget to an ad that it thinks is a winner when it is in early days? Yes, Angela, that's exactly what we're looking for. The reason why we're looking for is because Facebook has a lot more and Meta has a lot more data than we do about their users, okay? So the reason why we want to do that, we're looking for that. We're looking for Facebook to tell us who is, what's going to win, okay, based on their algorithm, based on their stuff. So that's what we're going after, okay? Okay, cool. I have time for one more question, and then unfortunately I'll have to bounce. We have a lot more questions, but I'm inviting you to leave them in the community and tag me in them. I will be more than happy to answer them, okay? What's your process for split testing landing page with Facebook ads? Great question, Zach. Generally speaking, we use we don't necessarily use Facebook ads to split test landing pages. If you do something like ClickFunnels or Go High Level or something like that, we use their embedded split testing system or Google Optimize or something like that. On Facebook, we try to keep things pretty stable. So we send traffic to a URL that will then split test. And by the way, there's a myth running around that if you redirect maybe, but if you split test, your ad's gonna go shut down. But no, that's not the case. So yeah, use the embedded functionality, either Google Optimize, use your embedded functionality for ClickFunnels or Go High Level or whatever it is that you're doing, and just keep the ad stable, and that will give you good split testing data. All right, cool. Was it good, guys? Yes. Was it good?
Amazing. So nice. Right, cool. It's nice having you back, man. It's so nice. It's just, awesome. I don't know. You can't make up for all that experience, Like you just have so much. That's amazing. So much experience. When you spent as much in ads as you have, there's no, what else can you do? There's no substitute for that. It's great. It's really great.
This was amazing. This was awesome. I think that we're doing this pretty frequently, actually. So, but yeah, I'm gonna be also in the community as well, interacting with all you all. So, so yeah, if you have any questions whatsoever, just let me know in the community. Tag me. I'm definitely super excited to be part of this community, to these amazing people that you guys are. I'm super excited, and yeah, super excited to help you as much as possible. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much,
Awesome.
Hernan. Have a great day. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Talk to you later.